everyone, before we wrap up September, I wanted to show you my August book haul. Now, all of these books I got at secondhand bookstores or my parents' house. They were looking to get rid of books, so why not go through some boxes and shelves? So that's what I did over Labor Day weekend. I have quite a few books. It's a tiny bit embarrassing, but we're just gonna jump into it. The first book I got in August should be no surprise to you because it was in my last vlog, The Shadow of the Wind by Ruiz Zafn. And actually, this is the only cover you probably saw if you watched my vlog, but I did get the hardback. That's right, I got two of the same book. These were like $2 each at a used bookstore. And I just jumped on the opportunity because I think they're so beautiful. And I figured this one was a little bit easier to read, but this one's so lovely. So I'll probably, I don't know, loan one to a friend because it is one of my favorite books. I'm not going to really go into what it's about because I've gushed enough about that on my vlog. But basically, surface level synopsis. It's about a boy named Daniel whose father is an antiquarian bookseller. He introduces him to this place called the Cemetery of Forgotten Books. He falls in love with a book called The Shadow of the Wind, and he tries to find more books by the author and strangely discovers that the author's books are being destroyed one by one. That's all I'm really going to give you on this. But trust me when I say it is an amazing book. I'm not going to gush anymore, I promise. Just going to say that it was probably my favorite book so far of 2016. Also, I didn't talk about this in my vlog, but I love getting books from secondhand bookstores because they come with fun little notes sometimes. Sometimes you just get the golden ones, you know, that have like amazing little love notes or, I don't know, just fun commentary. And the problem is, I can't read this because it's in Spanish. So maybe some of you Spanish-speaking viewers can tell me what this says, because I think somebody tried to tell me, some other booktuber friends that I have tried to tell me what it was, but I've already forgotten. But anyway, I just thought that was adorable. Moving on. At the same bookstore, I also got for like $2 another book by Ruiz Zafn, and that is The Prisoner of Heaven. I didn't realize when I bought this that this is the third book in the Cemetery of Forgotten Books series. I guess that you don't have to read them in order. It's not, and this is the third one. I don't think the second one is a prequel. I'm pretty sure you can read them out of order. The other one is The Angel's Game, I believe. So apparently they all have separate stories and endings, but the same characters. So I'm really excited to get back into this world, although I am a little bit nervous because the Goodreads reviews weren't as good as The Shadow of the Wind, and I mean, that's to be expected. I think I'm just gonna have to adjust my expectations that The Shadow of the Wind is the best book of all time, and anything that comes after it is just not going to be as good. That's okay. I can wrap my mind around this. So yeah, it might not have the suspense or complexity of The Shadow of the Wind, but I think it's really cool. I think it's the same characters. I don't really quite know how this works. So if you've read all three, let me know your thoughts. Because it's not a trilogy, but they're a part of the same series, so intrigue. The next book I found at a used bookstore is After Dark by Haruki Murakami. I've never read anything by this author, so I'm really excited. I've heard fantastic things. I haven't heard much about After Dark. It doesn't seem to be the favorite of some of his fans. Like I said, I saw this at a secondhand bookstore and I had to snatch it up. It seems like the perfect October read. I don't know if I've talked about this yet on my channel, but I'm a seasonal reader for sure. So September and October seems to just kind of be the creepy, spooky reads. I can't read anything too scary, so I don't know. This might be too disturbing. I haven't really read any horror, but I do enjoy psychological thrillers. I'm not sure if that is exactly what this is, but it's supposedly very creepy, mesmerizing, gripping, so I think it's going to be great. This is a novel about different short encounters in Tokyo during the creepy hours of midnight and dawn. The story kind of centers, from what I know, on different night people who are all connected somehow, tied together by secrets. I don't know if the secrets are shared. I don't know how it ties them together. But that's pretty much when I stopped reading the synopsis because I really want to be surprised. As you know, I like to go into my books pretty blindly. So yeah, it's described as a metaphysical mystery. So I think it's going to be interesting. The next book that I got at a used bookstore was Finding Audrey by Sophie Kinsella. I've had my eye on this book for quite some time. I've seen it around BookTube, but also I think books that deal with mental illness are extraordinarily important, especially young adult books. I firmly believe that books that deal with mental illness play a large role in overcoming the stigma of mental illness. So as somebody who's been diagnosed with general anxiety disorder, I really gravitated toward this book. In fact, I plan to do like a whole video on some of my favorite books that deal with mental illness at some point, so you can look forward to that. So this book is about a 14-year-old girl named Audrey who is diagnosed with what seems to be a pretty severe type of anxiety disorder. It disrupts her life in a very big way, and from what I hear, it's a pretty accurate portrayal. If you've read it, I'd love to know your thoughts. But what I'm looking forward to is the fact that it involves her family and a friendship. This friendship that she develops kind of coincides with her recovery, and to be honest, I was a little bit hesitant to pick it up because I was nervous that it was going to be about some boy who comes and fixes her. We all know that falling in love can't magically cure a mental illness, so I was nervous about that. But I was reassured through Goodreads that this isn't the case, so I'm looking forward to diving into this one. The next book I have is The Circle by Dave Eggers, and I don't know anything about this book. This is one that Aaron actually picked out at the bookstore. I do know that there's a movie coming out this year with a lot of well-known actors. I think Tom Hanks and Emma Watson may be in it, which is really cool. I literally only know that it's about a woman who gets a job at this like powerful tech company, and she meets a mysterious man. That's all I know. It's supposed to be chilling and suspenseful and terrifying, which just goes perfectly with my October TBR so far. So I don't know if this is going to make the cut, but it just might. I also have The Well and the Mind by Gin Phillips? I'm not sure. I found it at my parents' house. It's a debut novel set in 1930s Alabama. It takes place in a small coal mining community and follows a family, the Moore family. And all we really know is that this family is better off than most during the Depression, until their lives are forever changed when a mysterious woman leaves a baby down their well. So obviously it starts out with a very distressing event that kind of spirals, I think. I guess the mystery unravels and there are tensions and, communities divided by race and class. I read that the book is told through 5 different perspectives, which is interesting. So there's multiple narrators. I hear that the character development is really great. So I'm really interested to see what this one's like. If you've heard of this one or you've read it, I'd love to know your thoughts. I also picked up To Be Sung Underwater by Tom McNeill. This was another one at my parents' house. Clearly a love story. I guess it's about a woman who sort of revisits the memory of her first love when she was 17 and living at home with her father in Nebraska. I've heard that it's heart-wrenching, that it really touches on regret and different aspects of childhood. And I don't know, it seems like it could be a real page-turner. I'll keep you posted. Next, I have poetry, also taken from my parents' house. I have a book of poems by Hermann Hesse, selected and translated by James Wright, and The Craft of Poetry by Stanley Peterson, both of which I believe were published in the 70s. The Craft of Poetry looks fantastic because it has poems with teaching materials. You can't see that. With teaching materials alongside the poems. But I'm really excited about this Hermann Hesse book of poetry. These poems literally have the English translation right next to the German poems. If you can see that, it's probably too blurry. But I just think that's so cool. I don't know, I'm probably not going to pick these up anytime soon, to be honest, but when I'm in the mood for poetry, I just might. Last but not least is a book that I found in the bottom of a box at my parents' house, and it's called Wilfrid Gordon Mcdonald Partridge, and it is a picture book. Guys, this was my favorite picture book growing up. Like, as a kid, this was my absolute favorite, and it doesn't surprise me at all because it's about memory and nostalgia, and like, of course I would love that. It's about a little boy who lives next to a retirement community, and he helps his favorite friend there regain her memory. It's just a really, really cute book with, generational friendship. It's just a really, really sweet book, and the illustrations are gorgeous. If you've never heard of it. If you have little kids, you should totally look into this book because, even if you don't have little kids, I love to read picture books. Why not? So yeah, I just found this in my parents' stuff and I was like, I'm keeping this because I love it. I just love it. So yeah, these are all the books I got in August. It's a lot. Secondhand bookstores, got some from my parents. It's okay. I will not be shamed
for loving all the books.
If you've read any of these, please leave a comment down below. I'd love to know your thoughts on these books because a lot of them I don't know much about. Don't forget to like or subscribe down below if you haven't already, and thank you so much for watching. Have a good day.